everyone, welcome back to my channel. Yes, today is Thursday, and it's okay looking day, good and be great, whatever you do, but let's start with greetings. Hello, my name is Daniel. I'll be your host, your
guy in the chair.
He said it!
Today we're going to listen to the Critical Trigger's thoughts on Friday night, Five Nights at Freddy's, I'm sorry. So, enjoy.
Five Nights at Freddy's
really
is a classic underdog story, a franchise that started life as a low-budget point-and-click horror game made by an indie developer who up until then was best known for producing such classics as Junkyard Apocalypse and Chipper and Sons Lumber Co. The premise was simple but maddeningly addictive. You play as a nighttime security guard whose job it is to watch over a disused amusement arcade populated by animatronic animals. You do this through a system of security cameras scattered throughout the building. The only problem is the animals have a nasty tendency to come to life and start roaming in the corridors if you're not watching them closely. And if they make it all the way to your security office, well... Had to do it. Ah, shit! The game went on to become a smash hit and spawned an entire franchise of sequels, books, comics, and most recently, a feature film by everyone's favourite purveyors of low-budget horror, Blumhouse, who seem to be churning out movies quicker than Mike Zero shits out YouTube videos. And damn, it's already turned out to be one of the surprise hits of the Halloween movie season, raking in over $200 million against a budget of just $20 million. Shit, man, Disney could only dream of profit margins like that. So I've got to admit, I was kind of curious to see what this movie was all about, especially since there's fuck all else to see right now. Is it a genuine horror classic or a derivative cash grab coasting on a familiar name? Well, fire up your security feeds and let's find out. The movie follows Mike Schmidt, a down-on-his-luck security guard with a troubled past who's just been fired from his latest job after assaulting a man that he suspected of abducting a child. The only job that his career counselor can offer him is a nighttime security gig, but he turns it down at first because it would mean leaving his little sister alone every night. But with the money running out and his aunt threatening to sue for custody, he's left with no choice but to take up his new job at Freddy Fazbear's. At first it seems like any other tedious nighttime security gig, and Mike even manages to fit in some time for lucid dreaming while he's there. But it soon becomes clear that he's not alone, and something's definitely up with the old animatronic animals that were once designed to entertain children, but now have a far more sinister goal in mind. But what's really going on with Freddy Fazbear's? Why do the animals seem so interested in his young sister? Does the mysterious cop who shows up to help him know more than she's letting on? And is there some kind of connection to the disappearance of his little brother 20 years earlier? Adapting a point-and-click game like Five Nights at Freddy's into a movie was always going to be a challenging prospect because, let's be real here, it wasn't exactly heavy on plot and character development. The movie gets around this problem by fleshing out Mike's personal life and backstory and making them the centerpiece of the story. Most of the narrative is driven by his need to look after his younger sister, Abby, and protect her from his scheming aunt who wants to get custody so she can profit off the welfare checks and is willing to do almost anything to get what she wants. Fuck knows why they made her his sister instead of his daughter when there's like a 20-year age gap between the two actors, but whatever. They both do a good enough job and the chemistry between them is decent, so I'll let it slide, I guess. There's also a subplot about Mike's search for his little brother Garrett, who got abducted when Mike was still a child, and the incident's haunted him ever since. Lucid dreaming allows him to replay the event in his mind in the hopes of finding some clue that he missed at the time, and to be fair, these are some of the more interesting moments of the movie. It's just a shame that the script doesn't choose to do more with them. There's also Vanessa, a local police officer who seems to know more about the place than she lets on. And if you think it's a little suspicious that a gorgeous and extremely helpful cop just so happens to show up alone and take personal interest in a nighttime security guard at an abandoned arcade, telling him just enough to keep him invested, well, then you've clearly surpassed the target audience for this movie. I love how the film pulls out what it thinks is a surprise revelation about the sinister individual behind this whole thing when they're literally the only other character in the entire story. Most of this stuff is really just window dressing,
Yeah.
though. The real meat of the film's appeal is when the animals come to life and start attacking the humans. But does it actually measure up to the legendary jump scares of the game? Does it provide the same chillingly unsettling atmosphere of tension and paranoia? Well, not really, and I think this is where Freddy's falls short. The film straddles an awkward middle ground between gruesome horror and goofy, laugh-inducing silliness, like it can't quite decide which direction it wants to go, and so tries to do a bit of both. And because of that, it never really succeeds at either. Willy's Wonderland, which I guess is the most obvious film to compare this to, knew exactly how ridiculous its premise was, and just decided, fuck it, let's go all in and have as much fun with it as possible. But here, the subplots about abductions, murders, and childhood trauma don't really mesh with that kind of outrageous horror comedy, so you might think it would make sense to go the other way and make it super serious and violent. But again, the film never quite commits to an emotional tone. There's a lot of implied violence and gore, but most of it happens off screen, and you only get to see the disappointingly limited aftermath. There's relatively few jump scares considering there's so much fertile ground for that kind of thing, and while the prospect of trying to keep track of the robots using faltering surveillance equipment and diminishing resources, knowing they're slowly closing in on you, could be the basis for some good tension, the film never really makes use of the most iconic plot device from the source material. Instead, it spends a lot of its runtime with the human characters, reminiscing about past events and personal hang-ups, and I couldn't help thinking, this isn't really why I came to see a Five Nights at Freddy's movie. At close to 2 hours, it's also relatively long and slow for what it actually delivers. Again, Willy's Wonderland was smart enough not to overstay its welcome and wrapped up in less than 90 minutes, but Five Nights at Freddy's kinda gets bogged down in all the interpersonal drama and ends up dragging frustratingly around the midpoint. It's not exactly the worst horror film I've ever seen, and if you're a fan of the games, then you'll probably appreciate the little in-jokes and references, but I don't know, man. It feels like a bit of a missed opportunity that succeeded mostly due to name recognition and a complete lack of competition right now. Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Hey guys, I hope y'all like that review of Five Nights at Freddy's. I was about to say Willy's Wonderland, but it wasn't this movie, Nick Cage movie. It was different. It was entertaining. I haven't seen this one, but I did see Willy's Wonderland, which I'm gonna check this one out when it comes out on digital. I don't feel like having Peacock as a streaming service, but still, if you like what you saw, don't forget to like it, comment down below, and then finally subscribe for more notification bell to be notified every time I post a new video, and share. Bye.